Just before I get started, I just wanted to thank you, Councillor Earl, for chairing the last meeting while I was away. And just also like to thank Council for their contributions the last couple of weeks while I was away. I definitely appreciate the team effort that everybody puts in, so thank you to everyone. I'd like to call our annual regular meeting of City Council for Monday, June 23rd, 2025 to order. It's going to mix things up a little bit. I was at a school last week and grades 6 and 7 classes did some land acknowledgement statements. So I know how much work went into ours and the meaning of it. And so I was just blown away by Harper Rowan. She's a grade 6 student at Canalta who did hers. So I asked her if I could read her acknowledgement statement out this morning. So I'd like to start our day with this. So I acknowledge the land we learn and play on and its connection to all living things. I'm very grateful for the sun because it makes everyone happy. I appreciate the trees because they produce oxygen and keep us alive and healthy. I thank the earth for letting us live here, laugh here, and love here. So I just, it's from Harper Rowan, so I just wanted to acknowledge that this morning. Next order of business is 2 delegations. 2.1, we have Pamela Morris, Library Manager, and Jennifer Combraes, Vice Chairperson, Board of Trustees with the Dawson Creek Public Library in attendance regarding their annual update. So, well, Jennifer, she's not here yet, so just Pamela. Come on. Yeah, so good morning, Pam.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I hear I'm supposed to press the button.
Yeah, if you push your button and then I'll turn it on. And there you go. The floor is all yours. So,
Jeez. Good morning. Thank you all for inviting me here to give an annual report. We haven't done this for a few years, and it's great to be back to sharing what we do at the library with you throughout the year. I made a little PowerPoint to sort of guide me through so I don't take up too much of your time. I know there's a 10-minute limit. I could talk all day about the library, so I'll get started. So this is just a picture of the library. We had an event this spring. It was a gardening 101 with Dawson Creek Garden Club had approached us to come and do a little beginner gardening session. So that is some of the folks who came and they learned all about gardening. We try to partner a lot with different organizations in our community to share their expertise with the community and do educational programming at the library. So that's just a little example of that. So what we do, we're all about free access to books, e-materials, the internet, educational programming and digital resources. Of course, literacy. We do story times for babies up to providing cognitive care kits for seniors who might be experiencing cognitive decline or dementia, Alzheimer's, things like that. So we're always pushing literacy, obviously, as a library. And community connection is a really big component of the library. We are an inclusive space, and we try to connect people with resources and people with other people in a welcoming environment. This is just a bit of stats for you. If you're a stats person, here's sort of some of the stats from 2024. We have 429 new registrations last year. I was working the front counter the other day and just filling in for somebody's coffee break, and I think I did 6 new cards just in like 15 minutes. It was crazy. Active card holders is 2,569. That means people have used their cards in the last 3 years. That's a little bit lower, I think, than what it really is, because we just discovered that our people who are using ebooks through our Libby, the Libby app, which is how they access them, some of them were expired. Libby did an update and realized that they had been allowing people with expired library cards to access ebooks, and they did an update on their software, and suddenly we were getting calls, like multiple a day, saying, hey, I can't get my Libby to work. Can you update my card? So I think next year that number is going to be higher. It's very consistent. I think the year before we had like 2,400 active card holders. So it doesn't change a lot over the years. It's quite consistent. And our children with active card holders was 537 kids. We're going into summer reading club time in about a week, and that's when we see those active kids cards numbers going up. And then we have 25 active non-resident card holders. Those are people who live generally in Alberta who come and use our library, so people in Baytree mostly, things like that. You can also use your library card if you're from a different community in BC. Say if you're visiting from Vancouver and you wanted to come and use our library, you can use your Vancouver library card at our library, just in case you're wondering. And Dawson Creek people can do that in other communities as well. Our collection is about 67,160 books, 3,522 audio and visual items, that's DVDs and audiobooks. Our ebooks collection is 61,000, I can't see that, and around 61,000 ebooks, and then audiobooks you can see in e-magazines. Those are all provided, we share those books with all the libraries in BC. We collectively purchase those books through the BC Library Co-op, and we share those. So that's a fairly big collection. Circulation is very consistent. I looked up the 2023 to compare it, and it was like 100 less. So our circulation is around 44,000 every year. You can see the ebooks, the audiobooks. The ebooks are really picking up steam, like a lot. 7,500 circulated last year. They're very well used. And audiobooks as well. People love them for like long trips, drives, things like that. We have a really busy interlibrary loan department. We send out a lot of books and we borrow a lot of books from other libraries. It helps us not have to buy every book out there. And our patrons can find something that we don't have in another library, and we supply other libraries with books. We get a special Canada Post library rate to send those books back and forth. Our public computer stations are still quite well used, 1,800 uses last year, approximately. We have a sign-in book, and I just go in and I count them every year, one by one. What really is picked up is people printing and scanning. We provide free scanning, and we print, and lots of people don't have printers anymore. So that is really well used, our printer. Summer Reading Club participants, I think that says 569. That was last year, and we're gearing up for that this year. That's a lot of kids who come through the doors through the summer, keeping up their literacy skills. We had 37 programs. That's that's a unique program. That's not as, then you see the sessions is a lot bigger number. So that includes like story time, and we do 8 in the spring, 8 in the summer, or 10 in the spring sessions. And then we do babies and books, we do toddler time, we do story time, all those kinds of things. Let's see, our participants, we don't count every single person who comes into these programs. It's almost impossible to do that, but that's a good estimate. And let's see, photocopying, scanning. So that's our stats. Operation-wise, we're funded primarily by you guys, by the City of Dawson Creek. That mostly just covers our wages. There's a little bit left over for operations, and then we get money from the province through the Ministry of Municipal Affairs. That number, 185, is almost double what we would normally get. The last 3 years, the province gave us a special 3-year grant, and we divided it up over 3 years. Works out to about $95,000 a year. So this is the last year of that 3-year enhancement grant, and we don't know if we'll get it again or if they're going to raise. Our provincial funding has been very static for the last 15 years. It's been about the same. So this 3-year came out of nowhere. They just told us one day, hey, you're getting a big chunk of money. So that was nice. So we're trying to spend that wisely. And there's no real commitment yet that we're going to get any more than what we used to going forward. We're open to the public 5 days a week. Those are our hours. We just recently increased our hours due to some extra funding from you, from the city, to pay for an evening person to stay a little bit longer. And we also switched some staff around so we could be open longer on Saturdays because we were not open in the mornings on Saturdays. We decided it was time to do that. We have 2 full-time, 10 part-time casual staff, and everybody but myself are part of QP Local 2403. And we joined the Library Federation in 2024, which is the Northeast Library Federation. There's library federations throughout BC, and we were not a member we were one of the holdouts for many, since they began doing library federations for whatever reason, and we joined last year. It's been nothing but extra money for us to do things like go to conferences, buy collection, increase our collection, things like that. So it's been a real great move. I've got 1 minute left. Holy smokes. Here's some of our programming. There's a lot. It's a lot of different things. I'm going to swing you through all these pictures, which sort of shows you our programming. We did a teen crafternoons, story time on the left. That goes on all year. We had a bunch of school field trips last week. I think we had like 2 a day last week from Tremblay and all the other schools. They're all just popping in now. Our summer reading club is gearing up. That's from last year. We had a magician come, like amazing. It was great. We're going to have puppeteers this year. We were the terminus of the Pride Walk the last few years. There's gardening again. We have a Knitter Natters and Crochet Chatters group. They named themselves. They kind of came out of our Coffee Connection group. They decided they want to come on every second Thursday and do knitting, and they donate everything they make to different organizations in town, palliative care, things like that, the hospital with little baby hats. We have that Coffee Connection group. We meet twice a month, and they did an anti-scam workshop. There's our Friends of Library book sale, and we're out of time. There's our Coffee Connections, our Library of Things. We do pickleball sets, things like that. Cognitive care kits. And a seed library. So if you want to come in and get seeds for free, you can, and then donate some back in the fall. We have a Friends of the Library group that meets that are really strong. We did a strawberry tea just a few weeks ago with the musical theater kids coming to sing. And then this is a video. If you could hear it, it's kids cheering for our New Year's Eve, and we have like 100 kids come to that every New Year's. Can you get that to work? No? Okay. And then Dolly Parton, we're the fundraiser for that. We get like 450 kids consistently receiving a free book in the mail every month till they reach the age of 5, and we do all the fundraising for that in the community, about $25,000 a year. And then there's just a nice little note about libraries. Sorry, I'm a little over. That is my presentation. I hope you have some questions for me.
Just reading that. Perfect. Well, thank you. Yeah, you didn't get thrown out of the chair when you're.
I was like,
doesn't auto eject you.
I'm like, oh, I knew I was going to have a hard time meeting that 10 minutes. It's easy to talk about the library and all the things we do, but every year is something a little different. We're trying to always add to our programming, things like that. Come up with new ideas and try to figure out what is missing in the community, what people aren't doing, if we can fill a gap. And we're trying to focus more on educational stuff as well. We're doing an armchair traveler series, and where people from the community come in and share their trips, pictures from their trips. We've had like Amazon. We did sitting with the gorillas in Uganda, and we're planning lots for the fall. So anyway,
Exciting.
Lots of fun stuff at the library happening.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Pam, for coming today, and thank you for presenting. It's definitely can hear the passion in your voice, and I've spent a little bit of time at the library, so it's always nice to see all the things that are going on, and especially the youth and senior related. It's pretty phenomenal. So I'll open it up to council for questions. He's laughing at me.
No, he spent a bunch of time in the library, and I said lip syncing.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That was a while ago.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Pam. Good to see you. And I just echo the mayor's sentiment. We appreciate what you do, and as a parent of a kid whose daughter's in the summer reading club every year, I'd encourage everybody watching to look into that because it really is a great initiative. I guess question with respect to the enhancement grant over the last 3 years. So if stakeholders were keen to lobby the provincial government to continue that or make it a permanent piece of funding, we would direct our efforts to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs?
Correct. I could get you more specific information if you wish.
No, we know how to get in touch with them, but
Okay.
I'll maybe send it out to the public. They might be keen to write some letters on your behalf.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that was my main question. I think, we're obviously always trying to find money and fund services, but I do think, as you noted, the province, other than this last 3 year for that one-off funding, which is wonderful, but it doesn't allow for long-term planning. They were somewhat derelict in their share of the funding for about 15 years. So I think it's important that we keep pushing them to hold up their end. But, and I guess I just compliment you guys on the innovation. And I saw pickleball sign out stuff there. Are you still doing disc golf as well?
Yep, we have disc golf. We added to our pickleball set, so now we have 3 because we couldn't keep them on the shelf last year. We just had 1 set, so we're up to 3. We're going to do a little survey this summer about a library of things, adding to a library of things, and what people would like us to have. We've heard people say, oh, we'd love to have a sewing machine, food dehydrators, things like that they can just borrow because they only need it for one little thing and they don't want to have to go buy it, right?
Yeah.
So if we can lend those things. So we're going to do a little survey and figure out what people would be interested in us getting. Friends of a Library have a little bit of, they have these huge book sales every year and make tons of money and like to purchase those kinds of things or have donations of those things from the community to add to our library of things.
Yeah. Well, if you need any food composters, I know where we might be able to find some.
Yeah.
But I guess last one, sorry, Your Worship. I was just going to, so highlighting the pickleball and those are things which historically people would not associate with the library, but,
Right.
Modern libraries being what they are, you try and serve a number of
Yes.
of needs.
Yeah.
And I know we at the city kind of get into that too with lending out some games and stuff like that. So it's good to see, and I think there's probably a lot of potential to continue doing that as parents continue to look for low-cost things to keep their kids busy.
Yeah, we have, board games, things like that, but we would really like to expand that little end of our collection. Libraries are doing it everywhere, just finding things that people are, lacking in their community. And the smaller the library, the smaller the community, the more they're doing, as far as I'm concerned. They're just doing amazing things. I was just at the Chetwynd grand opening of their public library, and what an amazing space that is, and the things they're doing out there, too. It's incredible. So the little guys are doing it all, I tell you.
Well, I'll turn it over to someone else. Thank you again.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor Apollonio?
Thank you, Your Worship. Of course, Pam, nice to see you here.
Nice to see you,
Aside
Greg.
from our monthly gathering. Thank you very much, Pam. Of course, I always sit with you during our monthly meeting. I hope I'm doing well.
Yes, you are. You're doing great.
Representing the city for you guys. And of course, just thank you. And of course, since David is here, of course, I hope it's the accessibility thing that we're still advocating for the library. I hope it will be granted eventually. So just the elevator maybe, or just to make the second floor accessible for the people who are in high need of those on the second floor. So,
Yes, we would love an elevator.
All right.
Thank you, Pam.
Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor Apollonio. Any other questions? Pam, I just had one. Just on you went through your operational budget. How does the financial statement look for the library? There's obviously a lot of pressures that we face nowadays, and we're seeing, from some nonprofits and organizations that, it's just been some tougher times. So where does the library sit? Are you...
With that enhancement grant, it's given us lots of room to breathe the last few years, and it came as a surprise. So the first year we kind of went, oh, now what do we spend this on? And we were, so it's given us that we didn't spend it all the last couple of years, and it's sort of been sitting there, and we're, we have, the province is saying you don't have to spend it in those 3 years. You can, take your time and not feel this pressure to spend it all in 1 year. So we're kind of using it sparingly. But if we didn't have that enhancement grant, we would be tight. Our budget would be super tight. And it's tight, but it's not, we can breathe. If I want to do a program, we think it's worthwhile doing a program, we feel like we have the money to do that. If we didn't have that enhancement grant and they don't kind of at least give us, a little more each year to cover utilities and things like that, it would be quite tight. And we wouldn't have, all the programming that we have now, and wouldn't be able to expand it in any kind of way. So,
okay.
yeah, it's tight. If we didn't have that enhancement grant, it would have been really tight the last 3 years. We tightened our belts a few years ago when we had our budget cut a bit, and we're kind of slowly recovering from that. Yeah, it would be tight because everything goes up, right?
Yeah.
Our computer maintenance, especially, we've got computers that people, you have to really watch your security and all that kind of stuff online. And yeah, all those things get more and more expensive every year. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, okay.
yeah.
Thank you. All right, if there's no more questions, yeah, just thanks. Thank you for
Can I
coming
just
in.
mention one more thing? I was just
Yeah.
at a library conference, and down in the Kootenays, one of the libraries was doing Borrow a Counselor. So once a month, they invite a city councillor to come to the library and just sit at a table for an hour, and you can come and talk to them about any issues you might have to discuss and things like that. So I would love to talk to you about maybe borrowing a counselor program starting in the fall, where maybe you guys all take turns once a month coming and sitting at a table, and we would advertise it on our socials and things like that, and just say, hey, come and talk to Jeremy for an hour about anything that...
It's a library, so no one's
Yeah.
allowed to yell.
Well, have you been to our library? There's a lot of yelling that goes on there. But yeah, so if you're interested, I might be in touch with maybe Ashton or something, just to see if anybody would be interested in doing that in the fall.
Yeah, I think I can't offer everybody out, but I would
Well,
definitely
it
be
could
interested.
also include a mayor.
Yeah.
It could be a councillor or a mayor.
But yeah, if you just send the information to
Yeah.
Kathy, she could definitely get it to council.
I just wanted to put that in your ear.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. Similar to we do like the open door day here,
Yeah.
and it's a similar concept.
Just another opportunity. And
Yeah.
we'd have you at a time where we're quite busy when we have our coffee connection group on or something like that, where so people are already there. They can pop over and say hi and tell them what they're thinking. Tell
Yeah.
you what they're thinking.
Excellent.
Yeah. Okay?
Perfect. Sounds great. And thank
Okay.
you for coming in, and thank you for what you do in the community. And I mean, there's so many positive things that you presented there, but definitely the youth and seniors hit home, but also the community part, right? Like everything is about bringing community together and empowering community. So definitely appreciate what your team and the board does there. So just a thank you to everybody.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. I'll take that back to them.
yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks so much.
You bet. Thanks, Pam.
I'm turning myself off.
Okay. All right, next order of business is 2.2. We have Melanie Moore, Interim General Manager, and Judy Kucharuk, Director of Marketing with the Ovintiv Event Center in attendance regarding the presentation of the 2024 annual report. So, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us today.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for coming. The floor is all yours. So,
Okay, so thanks for having us here today. Sorry. So this weekend we just wrapped up hosting the 2025 Dawson Creek Secondary School grad weekend, and it's always an honor to see all those families and graduates partake in all of the activities. So thanks for having us here today to present our 2024 annual report for the Ovintiv Event Center. Our team is very proud of what we accomplished in 2024, continuing to support and engage with the community and continuing to bring exciting events to the venue. We held a total of 76 events in 2024, which were a mix of arena shows, Co-op Mercer Hall, community, city, and regional ticketing events. A huge part of 2024 was installing ice and being a community ice surface for the month of October while the renovations were finished at the Memorial Arena. During this time, we saw a total of 2,667 ice users and 2,272 spectators in the venue. This was a 30% increase in ice bookings. The Ovintiv Event Center became the home arena for 5 Dawson Creek Kodiaks games, and attendance for these games more than doubled in comparison to the team's 2023 games when they started the season at the other venue. The addition of community ice provided additional opportunities for community members to utilize the venue and additional value to venue partners and advertisers through increased exposure. We're looking forward to a full season of community ice during the 2025-26 season, and we will once again be home to the Dawson Creek Kodiaks. We're pleased to advise that 90% of operations employees have either their power engineering RSA or RO, which furthers our commitment to being a top-notch community venue.
My turn. Sorry, Mel, I think I stepped on
That's
your
okay.
toes there.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
sure, that's okay.
Co-op Mercer Hall continues to grow as a great part of the venue to host everything from meetings to galas and Christmas parties. This part of the venue has hosted the annual Southeast Palliative Care Gala, large Christmas parties for companies like Birchcliff Energy, and our very own haunting of Co-op Mercer Hall, our community Halloween event. There are many monthly rentals for safety meetings, you name it, that space is booked continuously, and what a great addition, from 2018 when it was completed to have that space. It's just continuously booked. So, and last year was exciting as well. We continue to partner with our organizations, local organizations, to help them with their fundraising. The Southeast Hospice, Oktoberfest, and then this year already we've done something with dueling pianos and the Southeast Search and Rescue. Our phone is continuously ringing with conference and AGM inquiries, and like I said, filling the calendar well into 2027. We always do our annual survey in January. It's great feedback, and it's one important way that we can fine-tune our approach to reaching our audience. Email database continues to be the number one in terms of connecting. And also, too, we do post-event surveys for every event, regardless of the size at the building. And oftentimes, there's a question at the very end, would you like to be contacted about yours or about your comments? And it was interesting because after Nitty Gritty, I had a few people that I wanted to contact, and many of them were that they had a phenomenal time and it was a great event. And they are shocked that we call them. And I say, well, of course we're going to call you. We're going to call you because that's the only way that we know how to grow, change, and adequately pivot when needed. So we're working on our new website this year, and it's going to be available late summer, early fall. And we're really excited about having that launched prior to the para hockey. And I think there's one other unique thing I wanted to talk about is that our partnership with Northern Lights College over the years has just grown and manifested into this amazing symbiotic relationship with their culinary arts program and our executive chef and kitchen. It has just been really great to be able to have those culinary students working for us, having their chefs come in and support larger events. It's a learning opportunity for them. It's absolutely a wonderful way to see the community partnership in action. I can't speak on that enough. So we're very, very pleased with that relationship and how it's nurtured and grown and allows us to host those really large catering events like the Well Cheap Society of BC fundraiser with 450 people, and we leverage that relationship with the college so that we can offer those really great meals. So I'll pass it back to Melanie.
Sure. Just a last final comment, I guess. Although we did welcome artists such as Clint Blackthorne, Buckcherry, and Skid Row, you will notice that our roster of shows contained a lot of Canadian content. We're discovering that many Canadian artists are choosing to tour in Canada at this time with the high U.S. dollar. This comes into play when we're responding to offers for U.S. tours. And this is a trend that we're seeing happening across many of the smaller venues in Canada.
Perfect.
That's it.
You guys are good? You're good? Okay. Well, thank you, ladies. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for presenting. And yeah, I have a few questions, but I'll open it up to council first. So, questions? Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. I don't really have a question as much as I just want to thank you for all the hard effort that goes in from your staff and your group to maintain such a valuable piece of infrastructure in our community. Whenever I'm in the building, whenever I get to interact with you and your staff, it is always such a pleasure to see the pride that you guys take with our building and how well you manage it and take care of it. So thank you all to your staff.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Parslow.
I'm looking at the financial report. I know there's so many variables, right, that must make budgeting a difficult challenge. But there's such a wide variance, right, in what was budgeted and the actual. Can you elucidate, what is your budget process in light, or what changes you're making so that your budget and the actual might be in closer harmony?
Are you referencing like the number of events or just the
Well,
budget
just looking at the
as a
whole, area, the number of events, you didn't, the budget says 0, but you in fact had 20, right? Or the attendance, your budget anticipated 77902. How did you get that figure?
So we take our previous year and I do an average of, so like the past 5 monster show trucks, I'll average out those and then put that into the budget. And so then looking forward to the next year when we're putting the budget together, we some shows we know that are coming, and then others like our annual monster trucks, we always have that, right? The wild sheep, things like that we know are coming, so those go into the budget first, and then we just kind of look ahead at what offers we might have out or things that we know are coming up and put those in. But it's for the attendance and number of events, those are based on averages of prior years' events.
Yeah, I do recognize there's a wide range of variability and stuff. But, a budget is just a financial translation of a plan. And I do know you're always monitoring what is actually going on, so we don't have any, major challenges.
Yes.
I'm not trying to infer that, but I just
No.
looking at the budget versus the actual. It's
Yeah, and the budget is all put in that top section. And so then like the community, the city, the regional ticketing, I haven't in the past, but maybe I will in the future, put the budget into those separate sections, right? So it shows 155 events for the top line, but that's really broken out into those different sections.
yeah. Anyway, so I know it's a challenge. It just always sticks out for me, right? That
Right.
there's such a wide variability. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Any questions? No, Councillor Apollonio?
Thank you, Your Worship. Of course, always thank you. I'm just echoing what Councillor Kyle McDonald said, that, the facility is amazing, wonderful, and every time that will come there, it is amazing. And like the graduation last week, it was awesome. So thank you very much. And I'm just wishing you the best for the next fiscal year or the next year. So at least we will have more, more profit maybe, or more shows, or more exciting things to do. So good luck for the team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Apollonio. Well, I did have a few questions, but mine were kind of answered. But I'd like to, I guess one thing you did mention that the Dawson Creek Kodiaks that's going to be their home. That's official?
That's what I've been told, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. I did confirm that I was allowed to say that.
Okay. No, I just know when talking to them last year, like how excited they were when they were at the event center, but also, hearing from out of town people that, had another event to come and watch. And so it was,
Right.
it was definitely a benefit to the Kodiaks and the community and the region. So,
I think it was really, really great.
yeah, it'll be exciting. So, and then I did, as Councillor Parslow was saying, just with the actuals and budgets, but I mean, you can definitely see, I mean, in the industry business, it's like this, right? It changes every day. And, but the amount of event days was very similar. Like you budgeted 170 and it was 169. So that's nice to see. And I wanted to end too on what Councillor McDonald said. Just wanted to really thank the team down at the event center. I know every event that I've been to or every event that's been hosted that I hear about, it's almost the number one thing we hear about how well it's ran and how good the food was and the service and dealing with everybody. And I think we see that when we're down there. And yeah, I mean, it's one of our largest assets for our city. And yeah, you do a great job operating it and running it and really taking that customer service level to where it needs to be. So just really a thank you to everybody down there. And it's everybody down there. It's a true team. Anytime
It
I've
really
been
is,
down there, it's, whether it's Tyler or whoever, like everybody works together and it's very clear. So I know we appreciate that a ton. And I think that's why you execute like you do, because it becomes about doing what's right first for your team. And then the win of that is the community gets the win, right? The great service and all those nice follow-ups that you were talking about, all those little details, that's what matters. So yeah, just thank you. Please pass that on to everybody that is involved with it, because it's definitely, we appreciate it. And it hasn't been the easiest last few years. So yeah, to come out of what we did a couple of years ago and to do what you're doing, it's just very much appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
We will pass those along.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank
you
you.
again. All right, next order of business is 2.3. We have David Johnston, Strategic Initiatives Advisor, and Duncan Melkinson with his Rotary hat, maybe. I'm not too sure. I'll let him with Community Living BC in attendance regarding the summer 2025 accessibility project.
Thank you
So over to you,
very
David.
much for allowing me to come. I met with some community partners. My boss from Community Living BC wanted me to do a new community accessibility project. So this is what I met with a whole bunch of community partners to talk about. This is 2024, the project recap of my employee appreciation event that I had. And there's Mayor Darcy Dober and Kyle McDonald and everything like that, and the wheelchair challenge that I did last year. So my idea this year, some of the leaders were Kyle McDonald and Duncan Malkinson, Heather from the co-op, John Curata, the president of the Rotary Sunshine Club, but Heather's now going to be the new president of the Lunch Rotary Club. There was Amanda from Dawson Creek Society for Community Living. There was the Chamber Executive Director, the new one, and Fred Fedema, the past president. There was a whole bunch of leaders involved, community leaders that I met with, and we discussed a community project that I wanted to do, and it's called Wheelchair Accessible Flower Beds, for people to raise flower beds up to make it more accessible for people in wheelchairs to do flowers. So this is my idea of what I wanted to get built. What is wheelchair accessible flower beds? They include raised planters designed at accessible height with open space underneath, allowing wheelchairs users to roll up and reach the soil. Side accessible gardens boxes built for easy of use without needing to stand, kneel, or reach excessively. Why are we excited about them? It's inclusive design, enables people using wheelchairs or mobility aids to encourage in gardening and community beautification. Promoting well-being, encourages outdoor activity for residents of all ages and abilities. Community pride highlights accessibility and inclusivity in public spaces. We have good volunteers, commitment to build one, lower maintenance, and elevate planters would be easy maintain over the long term. But David you ask, where will they go? Well, here's some ideas that I had with community partners, and Kyle McDonald suggested maybe. So let's move on. Number one is the old Wildcat video lot. City Hall has spruced up the location in the last year. This is a site that we predict would need permission from City Hall. Visible location in downtown Dawson Creek would need to be moved if the lot was developed. The other site would be the old Windsor Hotel, another visible spot in downtown Dawson Creek that is easy access by wheelchairs, less busy than 10th Street, would need approval from City Council if this location was preferred location. The other one is Walter Wright Pioneer Village, another location. Great opportunity to give life to the community asset. This distance from downtown may be a barrier for wheelchair users. Part of the park are closed for portions of the year. Would need to discuss more with the Mile Zero Park Society prior to placement. Number four, Northern Alberta Railway Park. That's the art gallery and the tourist place. Suggested as a potential location by community members. Would need to discuss where the flower bed could fit in the location. Another very viable location and easy accessible by wheelchair users. Need council's permission if this is the preferred location. Continue. Number five is the Northern Lights College, where the community garden is. I feel that this would be a barrier because it's not accessible for wheelchairs. There's no walkway, no pavement. We need a little bit of improvement. It's a possibility. Would need to discuss more with the Dawson Creek Gardens, accessible for wheelchair, particular this pathway and access to be garden may need to be improved. Readily accessible flower beds, community, and tools. Go ahead. Implement considerations. What's our request is resolution in support of the initiative subject to which conditions council has. Advise on potential locations or other implement ideas. If applicable, permission to use a city lot, as indicated earlier. Would love to go for coffee if you would like to volunteer. Budget, community members see an opportunity for materials and volunteer work to be used to make the beds. A new flower bed would cost $800 for Rona, but I have some partnerships that could be in play where Co-op said that I could probably get free wood from them to build these. I got talked to Kyle McDonald that I could approach the trades at Northern Lights College to maybe get them built. I got told by Co-op that they would probably donate soil for the thing. I got told that I could go maybe to, what's that place down there? On 17th. No, 17th Street. Reg Norman, that I could possibly get sand or dirt donated. I talked to John Curata. He said that a possibility I could get untreated wood free from maybe the Hutterites. The executive director over here at the chamber said that she knows people around here in the greenhouse, that possibility that I could get free plants donated for the thing. It wouldn't cost you guys nothing. We will need to connect with the leaders of the community gardens for potential placement. Well, if we want to do the Mile Zero or the community gardens, yes. We need to formally discuss the Mile Zero Park Society too. Dawson Creek Society for Community Living has discussed using the beds for programming, but we don't have a structured commitment on this yet. Project Lifestyle. After approval, we would be able to install a flower bed in a month's time. Once a site is found, our goal would be to have a 3-year trial at one particular site. If there is no community interest at the end of the 3 years period, the bed isn't being used, the flower bed could be removed or relocated somewhere else. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the community leadership of the past participation in Accessible Initiative in Dawson Creek. Feel free to reach out to me at my government email. So.
Perfect. Thank you, David. Just before I open it up to council, I just want to thank you for coming in to present this, but thank you for your passion and care for our community. You know, and those that have lived experiences. Over the last couple of years, I've got to know you quite a bit, and you've educated me in a lot of ways that I'm very grateful for. So thank you. And yeah, and this is just you know, just another one of those things that you can hear the passion in your voice, and you're really trying to do something that you know, benefits our community, benefits those with lived experiences, and just hats off for you for going above and beyond. So thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll open up to council. Any questions? Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. You took the words right out of my mouth. David, your passion for these projects you take on is really inspiring. Well done. Keep it up. You're doing a great job. I personally see great value in these flower beds. I would like to see them as part of our downtown. I think it could help continue to beautify our downtown and bring more population down there, more usage into our downtown core. I think it would be great. My only question about the Wildcat lot or the Windsor lot, would you see the need for pathway development in those lots to make it more accessible for the flower beds?
I was told that we could get dirt put up and it could be raised, or there was a talk about maybe putting cement down to raise them up. But I think a wheelchair could get in there, but I don't know because I've never done a wheelchair thing in the grass, so I don't know.
Okay.
Duncan, you want to comment on that?
Sure. I figured, you know, if council's in favor of this, you know, the project team may need to look at both of those sites, you know, and see what applicable standards there would be for wheelchair access. I figure a crushed gravel path might be able to get the job done for access on those two sites, depending on what the ground standards are. But yeah, either that's donated gravel or maybe it's further conversations with City Hall about maintenance and upkeep, because that's, you know, that's the challenge, you know, with these kinds of projects is they seem free, you know, from the outset, and maybe there's a little bit of thinking through on the project implementation side to make it go over the longer term or over a 3-year term.
Excellent. And I'd just like to say thank you for that picture, because I really appreciate the look of that flower bed there. And
if you want to know where I found that, I looked on it was on World Wheelchair Accessible thing, and that's the picture they had on how they did a flower bed somewhere. I'm not sure where. I think it might be down south. I'm not sure, but I thought that would be. I thought that would be a good one, good example of one. Yes.
Example. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Worship, and thank you, David and Duncan. Thank you for dressing up. So I don't I echo the sentiments of my colleagues. I think it's a great initiative. The fact that you've done all the legwork as far as donations and stuff like that, and you have that somewhat lined up, or you have some ideas around that, is great. I guess I mean, I'd imagine next steps, if council's in favor of going along with this, is we'll confer with staff to make sure there's no red flags around insurance or anything, you know.
Well, yeah.
Things I wouldn't anticipate, but they might. And then, so is the ask from us today to give you, I mean, I most of the questions I would have had were answered in this, and it is, as you said,
is
mobile.
that I would get a letter of approval to start this in a sense.
Yeah, but are you looking? But you're looking at specific sites. Like,
Well,
if there's any that are no-go, or
these 5 sites were suggested by Kyle McDonald when we had a meeting. So and others. So it's And I thought of downtown because it would bring more people downtown in the downtown area. Beautification, you guys are talking about beautification all the time for downtown. I thought the 2 locations where downtown would be good because it would bring more people downtown and maybe to shop more.
Just to add on to that, sorry. So with respect to the sites, if council did have an interest in one of the sites over another, I think that's, advice that we'd be happy to take.
Yeah.
And also, if you did want to get advice from, your staff on how exactly to implement or what kind of unforeseen things might be there, insurance or whatever, then, that's totally fine too. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think we're...
Yeah,
Like-
I mean, if they're doing it in the Lower Mainland, presumably
Yeah.
there's a way forward.
That's right.
But we always like to confer with staff because
Of course, yeah. I don't think this is I don't think there's a pressing timeline on this thing. I think it's a project that we'd hope to implement sometime before the snow flies. So.
Okay, cool. Thank you both.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Any other questions? Councillor Parslow.
Over the years, we've had a number of beautification initiatives, planters. Who do you see watering, fertilizing, maintaining, planting these? Because once upon a time we had a South Peace horticultural group who, for instance, at the traffic circle, and they let's say aged out. And so the city reverted to maintenance easy. Do you see this as becoming part of the city's responsibility to nurture these places by planting, watering, fertilizing, or is this something some other group is going to take on?
I haven't really thought about that, but Duncan, you want to jump in that?
There's a few different directions this could head. One of the options identified was partnering with the community gardens that might be able to use a little bit of volunteer work and regular presence from those folks. I don't think it's set in stone exactly where the responsibility would lie. The one thing David does have in there though is if there's no community interest and this ends up being a taxing endeavor, that they'd be decommissioned at the end of the project period. On the regular use, that's where I think the partnership or discussions. There's no commitment. I don't want to overspeak for the Society for Community Living, but be hoped that as part of their regular incorporated programming that there could be some regular use and whatever the planter folks do. I'm not very experienced on that.
And I do have someone from Dawson Creek Society for Community Living, Amanda Stafford, who's the head honcho of Access over there. You want us to jump in here? Amanda?
Thank you, Councillor Parslow. Councillor Apollonio.
Thank you, Worship. Of course, David, always bright of sunshine, you're here. Your energy, your passion, of course, with Duncan as well. Thank you very much for presenting. Yeah, like saying, like Councillor Parslow said a while ago, is this accessibility bed farm or something are open also to other people, like, for example, seniors?
Yeah, that's what we're doing. It's for that too, yeah.
So because as I said, people need to look after it.
Yeah.
So if just only like
it's open to
anybody or even
yeah.
The able bodies. So so at least they could jump in, just making sure at least it will be
it's open to everybody.
Will be looked after and okay, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Apollonio. Any other questions? No, I just want to thank you again. I did have a few questions that were answered. I think it's a great idea, and I mean, there's so many accessible areas in our community too. Like it could be on walking trails too. Like there's lots of trail systems through our community. But so thank you for coming in. The process is, just so you know, later on in the council agenda under mayor's updates, we'll revisit this then, and then that's when we talk as a council about the direction and where we are going to go. So
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. So nice seeing you.
You bet.
Nice seeing you, Jim.
Yeah.
Great job, guys.
Yeah. All right, our next order of business is 3 strategic priority chart, 3132. There's no updates. Is there any questions around any of those? No? All right. Next, late items. No late items. And then 5, new councillor business. Councillor Earl. Try that again. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to make note of and thank the Seniors Advocate for BC, Dan Levitt, who I had a meeting with this past week. Had a good conversation. He was just passing through the region, doing his kind of tour and touch base with the public. And he just come off a meeting at the Seniors Hall, but he wanted to reach out to council. So we had a good talk about, healthcare, recruitment, housing, the things we're, trying to collaborate with the province on to improve, and then what we do here locally with respect to accessibility. And he was very complimentary towards our offering of, or our suite of recreational offerings for seniors, and so I wanted to pass that along to staff as well.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Thanks for attending that. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. Just a couple of events I've been able to attend here this month since our last meeting. I wanted to congratulate the District of Chetwynd on a very successful 19th chainsaw carving competition. Was very well attended. International carvers from all over the world. Just such a great event that happens in our region, and is a definite economic boost for us all to see everybody in this region. So I congratulate them on another very successful event. Was also able to attend the Spirit of the Peace Powwow this year. Another regional event that is world class, brings dancers and drummers and vendors from all over Western Canada into our region. Just another wonderful event. It was very well attended. I congratulate them and their organizers for a great event. It was my first time attending, and I was blown away. It was very well attended. I had to park a mile away just to get to the event. It was great. And then finally, while you were away, we had the opportunity to go to the Leaders Roundtable. Myself, Councillor Parslow, and Councillor Apollonio were able to attend in person. Councillor Earl had the opportunity to Zoom in on that event. And just we had a wonderful presentation from CAP while we were there. Just further cementing the extreme importance of LNG and oil and gas production in our region, and what an economic driver it is for BC. It's BC's #1 export, as we know. Northern BC produces 20% of the propane consumed by Japan. There was a bunch of statistical numbers there, but it was just a great presentation to hear and further cement our realization and knowledge of the importance of LNG to the BC economy, and further pushes us to advocate for our local businesses, our local industry, to keep the provincial government aware of the extreme need to support LNG in the north.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Parslow.
Just to add on to Councillor McDonald, there's a letter in the agenda from the Mayor of Campbell River about resource communities. We are challenged as a country for many reasons, and I just think the initiative of CAP showing very clear data how dependent we are on a viable oil gas industry for the well-being of the province, and urban communities don't seem to realize where tax revenue comes from. The second presentation that was equally important, we're all threatened by, in the north, by the drought and fire security. And Dale Bumstead met this group from Saskatchewan, based out of Saskatoon, who are into the latest technology to help with protecting communities from wildfire. And it was very intriguing. It was intriguing to learn how many communities in this province have availed themselves of this technology. City of Vernon, North Vancouver, West Vancouver, how industry is very keen to partner up because it helps protect their assets. Essentially, some of us who are hunters or wildlife enthusiasts, we're all familiar with tree cameras. Substitute in your image, if you can seen these things out in the forests, with a smoke detector. We were shown a smoke detector that can pick up just a smolder of smoke from a distance of 5 kilometers in any direction. So it gives you an observance, a monitoring of a 10-kilometer circumference area. City of Vernon and their partners in the regional district have 360-something of these. They're all networked together. They give a clear picture, an early warning of what's going on as a result, let's say, of human mistakes or lightning strikes and so on. So I immediately, the day after we had got back from the Soto, I had taken photos of all the slides that were shown and met with Kevin Henderson and the fire chief. Grants are available. I know that you could tell in the room that I've never seen Director Brad Sperling get so interested. It means a cool guy, don't get me. He's a cool customer, but you know what I mean? So, and the chiefs as well. Mm-hmm. And I did talk to the wonderful chair of the board, regional board, Leonard Hebert. Lots of potential. And so the fire chief is looking into this. So I'm hoping we will have this on a future agenda, because we are all at risk in this. So it was well worth attending. The chief of the Soto's very nice host, and it was good. But I have one other item, if I may.
Councillor Parcel, yeah.
Okay. One of my frustrations, I know my colleague, Councillor MacDonald, who's certainly been lending his moral support and his presence, is that we do not have a community action team in this community. The mayor and Kevin did receive a presentation from the Homeless Committee. The Homeless Committee were persuaded to fly with the cat table, but there's no cat table. I want you to know, I don't want to, I think I've told the mayor this. If I haven't, I apologize. I've been working, trying to get BC Housing to give a presentation in this community to a number of agencies, and also make those councillors and staff, city staff, available to attend, because I'm aware that the city of Dawson Creek does not have, if I can say, a proportionate share of BC Housing supports in this community. It seems the preponderance of them go to Prince George. But where you have an active community who's working hard to make sure we get the best resources we can, it sure helps. That's the importance of the community action team. On the good side, I want to share a little story because we do have a very serious drug issue in our community, as do almost every community in our country and in the Western world. A business person in this community stepped up and has provided a 3-bedroom accommodation to 3 young men who have made a significant change in their lives. I don't wish to take any credit for this, but Mary and myself did do a personal planning session with all of them separately. And that really helped them on their way. So we do now have 3 people who were living in the shelter using this accommodation. And I'm telling you, all the research shows housing comes first in the journey to sobriety and personal safety. And here you've got, in this town, thanks to a business person, a very clear example of that. And so that's why I really want sometime in July to have somebody from BC Housing here so that we can be aware of how we as a community can improve our situation through some of their programs and partnerships, because we do have a need to do better as a community in that regard. On the sad side, I had to debrief a group of staff who were just really upset about the loss of someone in care who'd suffered an overdose, maybe bad drugs. My wife conducted a memorial service for the person, his family, his colleagues, and it just brings home when you attend something like that, right? The hurt and the harm that's going on. At that memorial service, I was given a T-shirt, and I was asked by the person who gave me the T-shirt if I would wear it at a city council meeting. So I'm going to stand up and take my clothes off. Just one
Just your
item.
jacket, please.
Oops. I always like to be a little dramatic. But here's my T-shirt. United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Individuals. And we have quite a few people in this town who have no home. And so I said I would. So you need to know we're working on this. I hope when I get word from BC Housing, those of you who are in town will attend that meeting. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Parslow, and thank you for all of that, and for Mary as well. So
You
thank
bet.
you, Councillor Apollonio.
Thank you, Your Worship. That's hard to top. Councillor Park. Yeah, I'm just only adding up to the leaders' table that we attended with Councillor Kyle and, of course, Councillor Parslow. It is a good experience, actually. It's a good drive. Just, of course, Councillor Kyle McDonald and, of course, Councillor Charlie Parslow also said their piece. I just want to say thank you for the Salto First Nation for the hospitality. Amazing improvement from I think the first time that we went there, like the 2023. The pavilion was wonderful, amazing, beautiful, and it's a good host. The Salto First Nation is a good host, and of course, listening to that leaders' table, there's a lot of insights, learning, and we could still do something more in the community. So, and looking forward for the next leaders' table meeting, like around October. So, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Apollonio. Any other new councillor business? No? All right, thank you, everyone. Just going to take a break here for 5. June 23rd, back to order. So next order of business was 6, adoption of minutes. 6.1, minutes of the regular meeting of council held on June 2nd, 2025 for adoption. Councillor Sudnick, second. Councillor Kemp. Call that to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Any business arising? All right, correspondence 8.1, we have letter from Leanne Esau, manager, Northern Lights College Rodeo Team, June 4th, 2025, regarding a request for funding towards camping fees. Just before somebody makes a recommendation here, we are going to revisit the bylaw on the camping fees, so I was chatting with Kevin about that, so, but that'll be future. But would somebody like to make a recommendation? Councillor McDonald, thank you.
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to move that we grant the camping fees back to the Rodeo Association as per their request.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Kemp. I guess just to Melissa, do we know what we have in our grant budget?
Through your worship, remaining funds are just under $4,000 with 68% of your budget used.
Okay, thank you.
And that's without the donation if approved today.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Parslow?
So we established a policy, we set a fee, and then people want exemption from it. When would we ever say no to granting an exemption? On what would be the grounds for denying a request for exemption from this policy? I'm not asking staff, I'm asking my colleagues here.
Well, I don't know, I know when we talked about it originally, some of it would have been around maybe the baseball fields or soccer fields where they could, stay in local RV places. The challenges, the ones that we've been getting are all youth related, using facilities and or agriculture related, where they all haul their horses and their animals, so they need those facilities. So we haven't, I guess the reasoning why it was brought in, we haven't really had any recommendations. So maybe it has helped with those not coming. I don't know.
So if it was to be, I'm just making this up, a soccer tournament, and people wanted to have camping, we would deny that because they're not related to agriculture and horses. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, I'm just saying the reason when we initially talked about it, that's kind of what we discussed. So, I'm not.
I'm just, it occurs to me, we set something up. This has happened a number of times. Not with this council, so we set something up, a policy, and then people come in, which is their right, to see if they can get exemption, right? And I'm just always wonder me, well, when would we deny a request from a Dawson Creek organization or entity? Because so I guess what I'm saying is, should we disband this policy? That's what I'm thinking, because it's a fairly costly item, $4,000, right? I heard just now.
No, if that's what's left in our grant.
Oh, left in the grant. Sorry, I misheard it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think this is a new council, or not new now, but I think part of it is you learn, right?
Yeah.
And we, made this policy with good intentions, and, maybe we've learned from it and it'll come back. So, yeah, thank you. Any other discussion? No, all right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed, and it's carried. Next, 8.2, we have a letter from Kermit Dahl, Mayor of the City of Campbell River, received on June 5th, 2025, regarding resource-dependent communities. Councillor Parslow.
Oh, the request is that we support this UBCM resolution. That's my understanding. Is there? And I'm moving that we do support the request. I don't have it in front of me. I was just drawing on my memory from reading it. Is it correct for me to say that just support that resolution?
Which, we would do at UBCM, so I don't know if there's not a direct request to the city saying that they want letters of support or anything. It's just looking forward together, yeah. Receive for information. Yeah, maybe receive for information. But there's no direct ask.
No. Okay.
But open to whatever council decides.
Well, I'm wondering if we should respond to the letter to the mayor and saying that we will support their resolution.
That's your motion?
Yeah, that's my
Have a
motion.
second? Councillor Apollonio, any discussion? Councillor Parslow, do you have anything? No?
No, I think the letter says it all.
Okay. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. Yeah, I think the letter invites us to join in the advocacy movement aimed at amplifying the voice of the resource communities across BC, right, to raise awareness. And they talk about trying to host a session at UBCM as well, right? So I just think we should respond. I agree with the idea that we respond and say that we would be willing to join in a collaboration of resource communities to advocate together.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Any other discussion? No? All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed, and it's carried. Next, 8.3, we have a letter from Taylor Mills, Executive Director, South Peace Art Society, received on June 5th, 2025, regarding a temporary adjustment to summer operating hours. Councillor Parslow?
I just want to make a few comments, if I may.
Sure.
So here you have an example of a society who is dependent on an external grant to operate in a very basic way. And to me, if it is important to have during the summer months an entity in a very important location for tourism open, that should be supported in other ways than being reliant upon an external grant. And so while I support the initiative because we can't keep adding expenses to our budget without a comprehensive review of why we're doing it. And at this late juncture, I just want to flag that we need to think about how are we supporting, again, the arts in this community. Okay? We're saying apply for a grant and then you can be open. If you don't get the grant, tough, close it. And is that what we want for the major location that is for tourism? If you get my drift.
I do. So maybe you would like to invite them in to present to us, because I would definitely probably have some questions. And this letter is the first education I've had of, and I don't know if that's the rest of council as well, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
If,
I was aware recently about some budget challenges
yeah,
which were related to this issue.
yeah. Okay.
So, yes, I would move that we invite representatives of the South Peace Arts Society, okay, to meet with council to discuss financial support from the city, their operating hours, and to make us aware of their financial strategy for moving forward.
Okay. Thanks. Councillor Parslow, have a second. Councillor McDonald, any discussion on that? Discussion on this motion? Councillor Earl?
Invitation in? Not on this specific motion, just comments with respect to the letter.
Okay, we might need another motion after that. Okay. All right, any discussion on the motion that's on the floor? No? All right, I'll call that motion to vote. Second by Councillor McDonald. You're welcome. Vote is closed and it's carried. Councillor Earl?
Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship. I guess a question through to staff is tourism. Do we ever apply for funding for summer students, or do we have summer students working at tourism this year? tourism offices?
Sorry, Ryan.
Through your worship to Council Earl, yes, we have summer students working. Yes, we received, I think the name has changed, but the federal HRSDC summer student grant funding, we did receive it this year. I don't believe it received it the previous year. And I think that's just the nature of amount of dollars, this oversubscription, who's applying, et cetera, et cetera. Fortunately, the city was a recipient this year.
Okay. And I don't, I'm sure given HR and I don't know if it makes an issue for collective whatever, but is there any paucity between the tourism office and the ability to provide some supplementary staffing at the art gallery for the Sunday to help them stay open, or is it? I'm just trying to get creative, given that they don't have the money.
Yeah.
And if we've got a couple staff working on the weekend, is there any way to have one of them stationed at the art gallery?
Through your worship, we changed our staffing model a little bit this year. We condensed our hours based on, and we condensed them and opened earlier. I think there'd be some interesting dynamics at play if we were to share staff over to the art gallery, their policies, their procedures, their accounting, their opening and closing procedures, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
I think of interest or note is that the art gallery has, last year they didn't receive funding either for some of their staff, but they operated anyways, and that information has been reflected, or that investment, let's say, was shown within their financial statements, not positively. I think the other aspect is that historically, in the last several years, we'll call it, the art gallery has not been open on Sundays in the summer, is my understanding as well. The hours that they have chosen to be open in terms of their letter forthcoming is to ensure, so they've found this balance of being open sort of 6 days a week, being closed Sundays, and historically in recent years they've been closed Sundays, is also to ensure that they continue their summer programming for kids and such. So although it is a change or deviation from their, I'm not going to call it their lease agreement, but they are ensuring that they provide, the information and heads up to us that they, and similar nonprofit organizations that we've seen are definitely seeing a financial crunch with their operations as either grants or costs or et cetera, all sort of, costs increase or grants compress or evaporate away.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. So there's no direct ask in this letter. Is there any lease requirements? I know you just talked a bit about the lease, but we don't, in our leases, no hour requirements. So basically just, you said no. Oh, sorry.
Through your worship, I think it's listed in the lease agreement in terms of some suggested hours and stuff, but that's why the letter's coming to you to, identifying this for you. And so we continue to work through them from a tourism perspective, but also from a culture and recreation point of view through Lindsay as well.
Thank you. And do we need any more direction on this? So we have one motion to invite them in just to present to us. Do we need to receive this as well, the letter?
Through your worship, it was my understanding that the motion that was just passed included receiving the letter and adjusting their summer hours. However, if that is not the case, then we can amend that.
Okay. Councillor Parslow, was that your
Well, in the
intention?
second paragraph, it says we respectfully request permission to reduce our public hours.
Oh.
So there is an ask there. So my motion, in my opinion, intent was dealing with the bigger picture, and then Councillor Earl had the floor and wanted some questions, which is fine. But I was going to make a motion that we grant the permission to change these hours as per their request. So if you would accept that as a motion.
Yeah. So can you repeat that motion?
The council gives permission to the South Beach Arts Society to reduce their public hours to what is proposed in this letter.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Parslow. Second, Councillor McDonald. Is that good, Tab? You're good, okay. Any discussion?
Yeah, just a comment, just to add, not to contradict, just to add to what Ryan McIver just said. Last year, the arts group did not get that grant, but they did have some COVID funds remained, which they used to pay for the cost.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Parslow. Any other discussion? All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. All right, next order of business, 9.1, we have report number 25-114 from the corporate officer regarding the 2024 annual report. So this morning's council session is being held as the City of Dawson Creek's annual meeting as required under the community charter. As part of the annual meeting, we will now consider the 2024 annual report. The report provides an overview of the city's financial statement, strategic priorities, and key activities and accomplishments from the past year. The annual report has been available to the public since June 6th, both in the administration department at City Hall and on City's website. Written submissions were accepted until 12 noon on June 20th, and any submissions received have been included in the agenda. Members of the public were also invited to attend this meeting or watch via live stream and have the opportunity to speak to the report today. Before we invite any public comments, we'll ask council to formally move and second the recommendation within the report. The recommendation within the report is that the report number 25-114 from the corporate officer regarding 2024 annual report be received. Further, that the Dawson Creek annual report for 2024 be approved as presented. Can I get a mover? Councillor Sudnick, second. Councillor McDonald. There is no members of public here before, but just before I call this to vote, I just wanted to speak a bit to this annual report. So first, I want to thank the city team for putting this together. I don't know if everybody in here or in the public has read it, but it is a phenomenal report, and there's a lot of effort that went into this from all levels of the city. So just a huge thank you. So I just wanted to go through it. There was a lot of, I find in everyday life in this role, you kind of just, you're getting through each day in moments, and you rarely reflect on what you've done. So to go back through this annual report, I think there's just so many amazing things that have been done in the community. So I just wanted to touch on them. So first, our strategic priorities. I know we revisited them last year, but it's very clear that our strategic priorities guide a lot of this, the projects that have been done. So I just want to thank council and the whole city leadership team for these strategic priorities, because I really believe that as you go through this, you see that everything is about making our community a better place, first and foremost. So, and then I just wanted to touch on some key wins. So the asset management system that has been brought forward, just a huge thing for the protection of our assets for the future and into the for our communities. So to touch on that, airport, it's definitely one of those, things that it's important to us, and there's a lot of wheels that are always spinning at the airport. There's been a lot of work that's been done on it. It is still a regional airport for medevacs and a private sector, which is both very prominent. And we need it for those reasons. But there has been a lot of work done. It's just some of it you don't see, but it's still on the the top of the list on things we're working on. Transit, same with transit. It's been this whole 2.5 or almost 3 years that we've been here. Transit has been a priority, and there's a lot of moving wheels on transit, literally in all areas. So it is as well something that's priority. And there's been lots of good conversation within the community, within providers, provincially, regionally on areas on this. So it's just something that we're continuing to move forward. Building relationships, I can't say enough how important this is for communication and relationships for everything, but it's definitely a priority, and we can see it from our council level, but from our city team, all the way through the whole city team to council. It's huge for us, and regional relationships, all of it. It's so important to just treat people good in life and move forward together. Economic development, I mean, something that we've talked a lot about, but I wanted to touch on the Start Something campaign. That was a campaign that was created and directed by us listening to our community and to professionals in our community, and something we need. And it's something, since we've done it, there's been so much positive feedback on it, and just the direction of it, the design, the branding, all of it. So I just wanted to touch on that. I really believe that's something that we can grow on, and we've seen so many wins from that campaign already. The city department heads, when I'm reading through this and I look at the leadership team of the city, and it's phenomenal. When you look at each one of these roles, and that sit across and that aren't here, you're true leaders. You lead by example. You lead for our community, and you're putting our community first when you're leading. And I just wanted to thank all of you, because it doesn't go unnoticed, and not always easy to do, but just thank you. It's it's inspiring to work with the leadership team at the city. So. A couple other things, some big wins. The pool. You talk about. I was talking to a resident the other day just about the pool and how they go there most days. And when we got here 2.5 years ago, or when you started, Ryan, I think we were down to 5 days a week at the pool. We've now are back to 7 days a week, but also the staffing level there and the expertise there, you're hearing more about lessons. And it was the school district that I was talking to about how the schools are going there and getting lessons during school, part of their thing. And it just made me reflect on that, because 2 years ago we couldn't barely staff full-time hours, of 40 hours a week at the pool. It was a struggle. So just a great job. Strengthening our facility infrastructure through planned upgrades and repairs. I think we're seeing that in a lot of our facilities over the last year, but even in leading into this year, whether it's upgrades to the Kin Arena, it's just endless on all the the facility infrastructure that has been planned and upgraded. The Memorial Arena modernizing, that was phenomenal last year too. It's just nice to see, as one of our strategic priorities, taking all of our facilities and making the most use out of them. The playgrounds, seeing those, the pump track. I was going to touch on this later in Mayor's updates, but I will. Just last night I went to the pump track, and it was amazing to see. There was 15 kids on it using it, probably 40 using the whole facility. And then we go to the pickleball courts to play pickleball, and we can't get on it because all 4 courts are full. There's a lineup to get on it, and the volleyball court's full, and the tennis courts are full, and the playground's full. And that's just part of our strategic priorities is community, right? That is community. That gives me the most satisfaction out of anything I do in this role, is when I get to go to those facilities and see community out there. Parks, we're seeing it, the beautification, whether it's trees or grass, you're seeing it throughout the community. Signage you're seeing going up, and those things aren't even coming to council. Those are just directions that is happening. So it's, just phenomenal. There's so much more. And then I just wanted to end with, one of the last reports in here is about the fire department. But I really wanted to give a shout out to our emergency service teams in our community, the fire department and the RCMP, who we work directly with. But it is, beyond what they do for our community, for the the health and safety of our community. And, one thing that I've learned a lot about being in this role is you get to see a lot more what those two do. And it is, it is phenomenal what they do and what they suit up for every day. I wanted to end with that, but I really do want to just thank council. It's been probably one of the most grateful things that I get to do is work with this council. Feel very blessed by it, and also our city team. That's not just the leadership team, it's the whole team at the city, because this stuff doesn't get done just by one person. It takes a team to do it. So that was just a bit of an update on that and some things that I felt were just important to point out from this. So, and there's no public here, so I will just, call this motion to vote. So,
Charlie's got a comment.
oh, Councillor Parslow. You had a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to say how much I appreciated your overview.
Thank you.
Bringing some things to the fore. I appreciate that. Can I just ask a question that you did raise? The swimming pool. It is very pleasing to see how we now have that continuity, etc., etc. But on the, I just heard last week about another maintenance closure for the swimming pool. Is that true? And what do we do with? Do we have something to retain our staff? And how do we provide refund for people who bought a year-long pass?
Well, I think the maintenance, that's an annual thing. I know last year we did
We
some
did a
major one, and we knew that we were doing another one this year.
This is another 2 months.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ron.
Thank you, Your Worship, through to Councillor Parslow. So, yes, so annually, we do an annual shutdown, which is traditionally a 1 month shutdown, maintenance. Due to the complexity or the timing of the maintenance and the items related to the pool, last year and this year are 2 month maintenance programs, specifically around the regrouting of the pool of the tanks. So last year was the I'm going to call it the fun leisure pool side of it, in terms of the regrouting of the of that, and then this year is the main tank, the sort of the deep end and the lanes, and that takes a significant amount of time to regrout that pool as well. So you're going to every 5. Don't quote me on the years, because I know it'll come back, I'm sure, but over a series of period of times that those tanks and the grout needs to be redone. And so this is just part of that annual or that preventative and predictive maintenance of the pool to ensure that the grout is maintained, taking care of whatever. And so that takes, again, it's not just the time to prep the grout, it's the laying of the grout or putting the grout in, but it's also really the most important aspect of is ensuring that there's enough time for that grout to cure. So when we do fill the pool, that it stays and it's good. Your second question around staffing and the retention, so similar to last year, there's records management, we have a thorough deep clean that happening, there's training and recertification, etc. So some of them, we also are encouraging our staff during that time frame to take holidays during that time frame as well. So it's just part of a normal, I'm going to call it practice operational aspect that we do to go through. We're also looking to extend, as an example, to be more creative, as well as for one of our team members to the steam room and sauna if you've been to the pool, has a mural on it, and we're going to be extending that mural on the entire south wall, and so that'll create some more time for staff to be engaged and do that. So there's many things to do. There's no shortage of work. It's just the management and the operational aspects of that. In terms of the refund, I don't have all the particulars on that. I think that like we have done in every year and whatever, is when we speak to those people that are impacted or whatever, we just make arrangements to assist to ensure that we provide the best customer service for them.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Any other discussion? No? All right. I will call this motion to vote. When everybody voted? Yeah, vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 9.2, we have report number 25-105 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding the 2024 Statement of the Financial Information. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. I'll move the report number 25-105 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding 2024 Statement of Financial Information be received. Further, that the 2024 Statement of Financial Information be approved as presented.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Do I have a second? Councillor Kemp? Just before I open it up for discussion, I just wanted to comment on a few things here. I think this is another area which is, one of the biggest things that we work on, and there's a lot of wins that have come out of here. So I just wanted to touch on a few. So, the PRA correction, like we are well on pace to continue that correction. Any increases we've had have really been just about that over the last couple of years. We've done an amazing job of handling our inflationary costs, and we haven't borrowed any new funds. Our debt servicing has gone down. Our interest earned, I don't know, like when you look at this, you can truly appreciate the job that our financial team does with this, but I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $5.2 million on a return on our investments, which is massive. It's so huge. It's really just minimizing the impact to our residents. And and meanwhile, while all that's going on, we've looked at efficiencies in the city. We've become more efficient. We're growing reserves. In the world that we face today with all of this, there's a lot of wins that come out of this. Are we perfect? Not by any means. We're always looking at new things, but we faced a lot of pressures last year with inflation, some unexpected, loss of revenue sources. There was a lot of things, new things that came up, and to do what has been done is, just really good job. And, our financial team, and it's just to speak to what I did on the last report as well. So thank you. Councillor Parslow.
Again, appreciate your comments on that. The thing that always draws a lot of attention is the SOFI report. Again, I would ask that I'd like to make a motion that we ask the provincial government to adjust the.
Already got a motion on the floor.
Do we? Oh, yeah, we do. Sorry.
Yeah,
all
so
right,
we'll have
I'll
to
deal
wait till
with that
afterwards.
later on. So just with the SOFI report then, it's always one that draws a lot of attention, and I'm just anticipating questions I might be getting, right?
Yeah.
I'm very comfortable with the elected official expenses that I know enough to be able to answer any questions I receive in that regard. The one that I am curious about will be the other one that I question is around our fire department. And I know I can't comment on it for last year or the year after, because I have no recollection of it. But the question would be that I'm anticipating, has the remuneration for fire department people gone up significant? Or have we got an increased workload with more overtime? You know, when you see 160,000 for a firefighter, I used to get a lot of comments when it was 120, 130. So I'm just curious, is it their rate of pay, or has there been a greater call out? I would like to have some information so I can answer questions intelligently. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Parsley. And I'm assuming we can just get you that information, or you wanting that? Yeah, okay. Okay. All right, any other questions on this? No? All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Councillor Parsley, did you want to make
Yes.
another motion?
I would like to move that we petition the provincial government to change its threshold for SOFI reporting from 70,000 to a figure that represents the inflation since the SOFI ceiling was set. It was set 70,000 before I got elected, which is quite a few years ago.
Yeah, I think it's like 30 years ago or something. Or...
No, that is...
When it was set, not, you said before, I wasn't talking about...
So it's 70,000 now. It's been 70,000, I'm going to say, at least 15 years. And I think it causes, it's unnecessary reporting. I think it should be adjusted at a point that would be 70,000 adjusted by inflation since it was last set.
Do you have a second? Councillor McDonald? Other discussion? You're good on that motion? Yeah, okay. All right. Thank you, Councillor Parsley. I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, we have 9.3, report number 25-088 from the Development Service Manager regarding invitation to tender 2025-07 City Hall capacity and security measures. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Worship. I'll move the recommendation that report number 25-088 from the Development Services Manager regarding invitation to tender 2025-07 City Hall capacity and security measures be received. Further, that Council approve an increase to the 2025 General Capital Fund under Project 2410 City Hall capacity and security measures from $274,000 excluding GST to $340,000. And further, that Council award the contract for ITT 2025-07 City Hall capacity and security measures to Heggie Construction Limited for the tendered price of $298,000 excluding GST.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Do I have a second? Councillor Sudnick. Discussion? Councillor Parslow.
In the alternatives, staff wrote that the report could be cancelled. I found that a little attention-getting for me. So is there some doubt in staff's mind that this is a very important project, or are they feeling that this is not a low priority and could be cancelled without too great a impact on the safety, convenience of staff?
Through your worship, great question. No, not at all. It's just tends to be that we recognize it's over budget. We recognize that there's a lot of priorities on council's plate, and it's an ask for you to increase the project by about $40,000. So if council really wishes and doesn't feel that this is as priority as other projects, then it's on there for you to discuss as an alternative.
So could you refresh my memory why you think this is important?
Go ahead, Devin.
Through your worship, this project specifically is security measures protecting staff essentially from any sort of threat actors, as well as accessibility. So one aspect of this project is a movable desk that can come down for wheelchair accessible users. You can see it on the screen there, actually on the bottom below there. Currently, we don't have any way to serve wheelchair accessible users, and it's quite awkward and uncomfortable for them to come in and our staff to have to appear over the counter. In terms of the security side of things, this is deemed to be essentially by staff phase 1, essentially. When you walk in most government buildings, you come to a wall of glass, a wall of wood. Right now, you can walk in and walk through finance, engineering. You can walk upstairs. You can walk through admin. You can walk into these council chambers with no resistance. The world is changing, and we just want to make sure that we're staying ahead of anything that may happen.
Yes, I can see that support all that. So I won't burden the rest of it, but it's kind of curious to me how we would improve security at this council chamber, but that's irrelevant for right now. I understand you.
We're going to move your desk right there.
Yeah, it's a new
I'd much
security
rather
detail.
Councillor McDonough was maybe sitting outside there and making sure who comes in and not.
We have him as close to the door as he could be over there.
Official lamb.
Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Your Worship. So a couple questions, I guess, with respect to the safety and security, and I guess somebody works at a financial institution and is aware of the not only the expectations of the public, but professional standards around security with respect to private information. And as you noted, somebody coming in here could conceivably access the finance department pretty easily. I assume we've got a number of processes in place to maintain security for people's privacy, but I could be thinking, are there any potential, as professional or as standards change, are there any potential insurance implications to not doing this kind of work?
And through Your Worship, I'm not aware of any, to be honest. This really is coming from two veins. One is the accessibility to always be further more accessible to the public. This is also going to help with our customer service. When you're going to walk in, you're going to see one front counter. The signage and wayfinding will also be updated, so that'll be easier for our customers to know exactly where to go when they need to go there. And then for a safety perspective, I would say the biggest effect it would have would be on our staff's safety and security, and that in turn would have an indirect impact, obviously, on WorkSafe BC rates and insurance and things like that.
So, and not that, this is the most important consideration, because as you noted, security and safety is always chief priority when it comes to staff, and accessibility is also very important. But given the life cycle of this building and the fact that it is already considered an old building in the eyes of many, and I know eventually in the tangible capital asset management plan, one of the conversations that's going to emerge is, replacing this. How are we factoring in that consideration when we're coming up with projects like not only this, but the bathroom reno and stuff like that? At what point do we anticipate the juice may not be worth the squeeze because we're going to be in a different building at some point?
Yeah, through Your Worship, that's, again, a great question. We're seeing higher than average building costs. That's why you're seeing a lot of these projects when it comes to the building and facility sides, they're all tend to be right at budget, where some of our other types of projects, like our undergrounds and our roads, tend to be kind of right where we're expecting. We're just seeing really high building costs right now. Tariffs, labor, all these things, just uncertainty in the market. When it comes to exactly whether we reno this building or we just knock it down and get a new one, I think the price tag on that is probably something that's not in our 5-year plan. It's not something we discussed currently. So the conversation is, how can we effectively modify this building and still make it highly functional? We see this as a value add for the $350,000. We'll be able to, modify our work processes and modify our customer experience just to continue maintaining better customer service moving forward, and all these added other benefits for our staff and things like that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor Parslow?
Just to add to the questions from Councillor Earl, just something flashed in my mind here. back in the days when the school district and the city shared this building, I occupied this floor on this side, and there was issues raised with about my personal safety. There had been threats made by some deranged people about me, and the school district did some work with Harold Hansen, who was the CAO of the time. And it was determined that my office should have an emergency exit which left the building and went on the outside. Of course, the costs were prohibitive. Okay. I had a secretary who was pretty nifty. She figured she could cover me for me getting out of the room, and so it was passed, right? The issue was passed over. But seriously, that area there, and it may be true, on this side there is a downstairs exit, right? There's nothing here. And HR could attract some hostile people, right? I'm sure. Has there been any dialogue about an emergency exit on this side of the building?
Ryan?
Through your worship to Councillor Parslow, your past lived experience on the north third floor is true. There is no emergency exit or escape area and such. I think there has been some internal discussion amongst staff and actual implementation of some additional other measures, whether it be panic buttons, access, and some perhaps future changes to the third floor of how access is given or granted into council and the staff areas, although not all perfect. Those are I'm going to call it the low-hanging fruit items that are actionable that has been undertaken, but also understanding and through our work safe and health and safety aspects of reviewing annually our active shooter and some of that shelter in place aspects. So I think there are other aspects that staff, much like in other areas within the city, there are some things that are, it's not that we're saying no, we're saying yes, but there may be other avenues through training, education, panic buttons, et cetera, to help ensure safety of our employees, inclusive of myself, who is on that side of the room.
Thank you, Ryan. This is a little bit of a tough one for me because I think as we operate here, we want to be as open as possible, and but this is just a reality we live in. And you, Councillor Parslow, you brought something up, and I'm a little disappointed you didn't deal with this back then, because it would have been done for a lot less than it's costing today. So I'm a little disappointed. This is coming back to.
No, I have to interrupt you. Remember, the owner of the building was the city. The school district were tenants who paid $0, but it was beyond the capacity of the school district. It was the city.
Sounded like you had the opportunity.
As you noted, Charlie's tenure,
what I heard. Yeah.
Charlie's tenure at the city predating as well.
Yeah. All right. Any other discussion on this? I will call this motion to vote. Vote is closed and it's carried. Next, we have 9.4, report number 25-090 from the Capital Project Manager regarding invitation to tender 2025-14 Barbaree Park Stormwater Outfall Replacement Project. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to move the report number 25-090 from the Capital Projects Manager regarding invitation to tender 2025-14 Barbaree Park Stormwater Outfall Replacement Project be received. Further, the Council award the contract for ITT 2025-14 Barbaree Park Stormwater Outfall Replacement Project to ACL Construction Limited for the tender price of $539,854.20, including a $40,000 contingency excluding GST.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Do I have a second? Councillor Sednick. Discussion. Devin, do you just want to give like a quick overview of this? I know you explained a lot to me last week and it was very helpful. And I assume that there'll be some comments from the public once this starts. So,
Yes, through your worship, you can see up on the screen here what we've done. Luckily, the rating is too small. You can't see that it's upside down. But what we've done is we've created a concept of Barbaree Park. This is looking towards the dog park from the community garden. So if you're standing, I got a laser pointer, perfect. If you're standing here, that would be essentially looking from here, looking north towards the dog park. This project looks to replace, there's a purple pipe right here on the drawing. It's purple. I'm going to try to keep this laser pointer steady. It looks to replace this purple pipe, essentially, that's failing. If anybody's been in Barbaree Park, you'll see there's a sinkhole. Originally, this project was just replace the pipe as is. It came in at $900,000. So staff went back and said, actually, it was our CAO that came up with the idea. Why don't we just make a ditch? So we'll just open it up. So what this project's going to do is going to remove this pipe and actually open cut this ditch. This is the top of the slope right here, you'll see. And then it's going to remove the existing path that currently runs right along the side of the creek, and it's going to actually go right around the slope. So it's going to go up towards the alleyway, which is shown here, and this is 14th Street here. So we're going to actually lengthen the path. And there's going to be this little piece down here is a maintenance path for our public works to get down. You can see it on the drawing here. This is the maintenance path. So people won't be going down into the ditch. They'll be going around the ditch to walk. And then the maintenance path is for public works to go down and steam the outfall. One of the things we're going to be doing here is we're going to be using something called a biotic soil medium. So it's kind of like a hydroseed, but instead of hydroseed, it also includes the soil. It's been engineered, so very little water is required to hopefully make it grow, and it should take a lot better than hydroseed. I hope I'm not eating my words in 4 months from now. Also, you notice we've got, the catch basin, or the outlet basin's down here, and then a small ditch bottom into the creek. This is all being done through environmental permitting. So we have to do it during the least risk window for the fish, so it'll be likely done in September area. As in terms of the last thing I wanted to mention, I guess, is the disc golf course. It actually doesn't affect any hole locations, and in conversations with the disc golf community, they're really excited because they have another challenge to throw across. If that answers any questions for you. Yeah, another hazard.
Question,
Yeah.
Thanks, Devin. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Councillor Parslow.
ACL Construction's based out of where?
Through your worship, Councillor Parslow, good question. Fort St. John.
Okay.
They're doing similar type work. I think I put it in the report as well. They're doing similar type work in Fort St. John as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Parslow. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Rich. Just curious, once this is tendered, what do we anticipate the timeline for the project to be? And does this, how are we communicating it to the dog park people? Because I'd imagine equipment in particular we might get some feedback about that with the dogs and whatnot.
Right. Yeah. Through your worship, to Councillor Earl, it looks like September. It'll be after the least risk fish window, so it'll be September, October when we can get in there. It should only be, I think, a month or so, and we will be communicating to stakeholders. We'll be reaching out to I think it'll be a broader public notice because this is going to get some attention. Mm-hmm. Obviously, when we start digging a big hole in the park. There will be some vegetation. What this picture doesn't show is the vegetation that was kind of hard to sketch in, but there will be some vegetation, some trees planted as well to beautify some aesthetics as well as create erosion control, and we'll be notifying the dog park as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Other discussion? All right, thank you. Thanks, Devin. I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 9.5, we have report number 25-106 from the Civic Properties and Facility Manager regarding Hope's Cradle program update. Councillor Kemp.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that report number 25-106 from the Civic Properties and Facility Manager regarding Hope's Cradle program update be received. Further, that council direct staff not to proceed with implementation of the project at the Dawson Creek Fire Hall due to significant facility operational and safety constraints.
Thank you, Councillor Kemp. I have a second. Councillor McDonald. Discussion. All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed, and it's carried. Next, we have 9.6, report number 25-107 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding reimbursement of expenses policy review. All right. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to move the report number 25-107 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding reimbursement of expenses policy review be received for discussion.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Councillor Kemp. I'll call that to vote. Vote is closed, and it's carried. Yeah, there's definitely a few different options in here and looking at things, and kind of a touchy one. There's nobody jumping in to speak right now. I'll speak to it a little bit, I guess. I just, our current one, I think we do need to revisit it, and maybe some of those values could change a little bit. I still think, like, if you're at a conference and you have lunch or dinner or breakfast included, that would come off of that total. So I'm not in favor of the one where it just gets paid regardless. But I don't know if the new totals that were proposed in here are, it's like 22 for breakfast, 33 for lunch, and 55 for dinner seem a little high to me. But I don't know, that might just be me, and I don't really pay too much attention to it when I'm traveling. But I do know, I think our current breakfast one is, $15, I believe it was. And I mean, you can't get breakfast anywhere for $15. Yeah, $15, 20 for lunch and 40 for supper, or dinner. So I don't know, I think the breakfast and lunch are probably low, just my thoughts, but yeah. Councillor McDonald, do you have some?
Yeah, just on that point, just for information, those numbers are right on par with what the NCLGA pays their board at $22.33 and then $56 for dinner. I think the overall of 110 brings us much more into a line with the actual cost occurred by most now.
Okay.
Right. I think the breakdown may be skewed a little bit, but the overall at 110 comes a lot closer for what it would cost staff or council if they were out purchasing their own meals.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, just, without fiddling around the margins, I think 110 is reasonable. When we initially passed the $75 per day per diem policy, it didn't take into account inflation like many of the other fee policies we passed around the time. And while it's always kind of uncomfortable to talk about your own remuneration, and I don't think anybody gets into this for the money, and if you do, you're an idiot. I also don't think from a principled standpoint, people should be expected to go out of pocket to do their jobs. And that's what I think this gets to. I am in favor, to your point, of any meals provided being deducted from the total per diem. I think that's appropriate. Otherwise, yeah, those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Would you like to make a recommendation on there? Sorry if there's no more is there any more discussion on it open for discussion? No? Oh, Councillor Parslow.
Yes, I remember when I first got on council, it was quite a lengthy period of time where I was advocating that if the meals were part of a conference, you should not get the full per diem.
Yeah.
And I would strongly object to us reverting back to what used to happen. This is not related, but I want to rate it up because it does deal with compensation for travel. I really think we need to pay attention because there is one amongst this group here who tries to save the environment by driving an electric car. And what should be the mileage for driving an electric car? I think, I can drive at 1/8 of the cost of some of you who drive SUVs and some of you who drive trucks at 1/12 of the cost. But offsetting that, I paid more money maybe for my vehicle because it was electric. But I would like there to be some study of that because I tell you, this sort of topic is closely watched, right? And so I've never put in any travel expenses for the point of view of my vehicle because it's electric. And I've never driven a long distance on city business without it being heavily a private thing as well. In other words, I go and see my kids, and I've just used it at that. But I do think this is a very sensitive topic. I support what the mayor said about the meal stuff very strongly, but I do think we need to pay attention to the mileage as well as a separate topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Parslow. Yeah, I guess just to speak to the mileage too, I mean, the rates that are followed on that are CR regulated, so it's not something that
Doesn't say anything about electric, though.
No, but it also doesn't say anything about, you mentioned comments about a bigger vehicle, like those costs are there to, cover with depreciation, fuel, wear and tear, like they don't even cover fuel on a larger vehicle, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, all right, would anybody like to put a recommendation forward? Is there any more discussion on this? No? Thank you, Councillor Parslow. Anybody like to put Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. I'll recommend number 1 to increase the per diem only while maintaining the current policy provision where meals provided at events are not eligible for reimbursement.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Parslow. Any discussion? No? All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Next, 9.7, we have report number 25-108 from the General Manager of Operations regarding request for council participation in the Liquid Waste Management Plan, Stage 1 Steering Committee. Sorry, was there something? Okay. So I believe this is looking for 2 people on this. I am willing to put my name forward. Councillor McDonald also reached out to me and said he was willing, but if there's other councillors that have a desire to be on here, I can easily step back. I get educated on this as it goes through anyways, but I don't know. Was there anybody else that had interest to be on it? Nobody's jumping up, so. Yeah. All right, Councillor McDonald, do you want to move the recommendation? Sorry to put you on the spot and thank you.
No, that's all right. I'm just going to scroll down to it. I'd like to remove that report number 25-108 from the General Manager of Operations regarding request for council participation on the Liquid Waste Management Plan, Stage 1 Steering Committee be received. Further, the council will appoint Mayor Darcy Dober and Councillor Kyle McDonald to serve on the steering committee for the Liquid Waste Management Plan, Stage 1 for the City of Dawson Creek.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Sudnick, any discussion? No? All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed, and it's carried. Next, we have 9.8, report number 25-109 from the Development Service Manager regarding development variance permit 25-04-67 Vic Turner sign variance. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that report number 25-109 from the Development Services Manager regarding development variance permit 25-04-67 Vic Turner signed variance be received. Further, that the development variance permit number 25-04 be approved to vary the rear yard setback requirements for freestanding signs from 6 meters to 0 meters for the property located at 67 Vic Turner Airport Road.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Do I have a second? Councillor Sudnick, discussion? Oh, all right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed, and it's carried. I'm just going to call like a quick 2-minute break, so not too long, then we'll get right back at this. Back to order. Next order of business was 9.9. We had report number M. Threw me off there with the letter in front. M-25-113 from the Communications and Engagement Manager regarding Memo, City Pole Banners, update, Treaty 8 banner designs approved. So, Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to move the report number M-25-113 from the Communication Engagement Manager regarding Memo for City Pole Banners Update. Treaty 8 banner designs approved be received for information.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. I have a second. Councillor Kemp. I just want to give a shout out to the communications team on the work that's went into this. I know it's been a long couple of years going through this banner process. There's been a lot of things that have come back and forth, but these are phenomenal and they came in-house. So I just really wanted to give a shout out to you and your team, Melissa, and they're amazing. They're very eye-catching. I know you presented as well to the Treaty 8 Tribal Association, and they felt the same way. So I just, excited about this, and so thank you. Councillor McDonald?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to second that. I think these banners are beautiful. I was there when our communications manager presented to Tribal Council. Tribal Council was very excited and appreciative of the banners. They thought they were very eye-catching, very relevant, and I think they'll go a long way to beautifying the entrance to our city and making us more appealing to those coming in.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Any other discussion? I'll call this motion. Councillor Parslow.
Well, I was going to say I concur about that, but there's one regret I have about them, okay, is I wish we had some communities, they have a bird, a plant that is symbolic of their community that's been adopted. We have one, you probably all know, the goldenrod.
Yeah.
But it's so unattractive, you know what I mean? No, so eye-catching, it doesn't lend itself to the very thing here. But I wish we had something that was associated with the community that we immediately recognize. And so that's just a reflection. Should we consider that? I mean, the city of the day, council of the day, decided they needed to have a plant that symbolizes the community, and they went out to the public, and there was only, I think, 6 respondents, and they adopted the one that was proposed, the goldenrod, which is hardly eye-catching and doesn't lend itself to this thing. But I wish we had something that was more, lends itself to the sort of work that the communication team has done, and that could be incorporated in, and people would recognize it as something we have.
You're thinking more of a natural object, obviously, because we have the mile zero post.
An eye-catching, you know.
Yeah. Crane Tower and the mile zero post are pretty unique.
Anyway, I like these as well. I'm not against it, but
okay.
expressing a wish.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Parslow. Any other discussion for receiving for information? No? All right, I'm going to call this to vote. Vote is closed and it's carried. Next order of business 9.10, we have report number 25-115 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding 2025 property tax, Dawson Creek Exhibition Association. Councillor Parslow.
Just point of information, does staff know the reasoning of the assessment authority for why something for so many years was not taxed, now is taxed? Was there a mistake in the presentation made by the society that triggered something?
No, it was the new lease agreement, but did you want to give a quick information session on this before there's a recommendation?
So through your worship, I may let Tab help as well, just because she has been the one that's been communicating with BC Assessment. We just got their answer Friday, but from my understanding, it can be dependent on the individual that's looking at it. And so we have identified that there is future work that's required to try to work with BC Assessment to determine how we can make sure this doesn't happen again. But I'll see if Tab wants to add any details.
Through your worship, Melissa essentially summed it up. It's based on the individual reviewing the application, and when they reviewed the lease agreement, they noted that that's what it was for, is a lease agreement, even though the city pays the Exhibition Association money to operate the grounds on behalf of the city. They felt that it was more of a lease, so they assessed it as such.
So is there an appeal process then?
Through your worship, I am not sure if there's an appeal process for this part. Perhaps the same type of appeal process that a resident would go through for questioning BC Assessment, and I do believe that deadline has passed. So
That's in January.
unfortunately not for right now.
So because of an individual's determination, we're having to give the Exhibition Association $34,000.
Well,
And without any due process of review.
did you want to touch a little bit more on what you talked about, like with
Through your
lease
worships.
changes and?
For a point of clarification, so similar to other user groups, facility lease management agreements, they're added to our permissive tax exemption list. The Dawson Creek Exhibition Association was not added to our list as they were not assessed for taxes previous to this year. So there was a new lease agreement, we've extended the agreement, and as a part of staff process, we sent that agreement to BC Assessment. And when we sent the new agreement, they assessed it as needing taxes. So they've assessed tax on the property. However, that was past the deadline of us adding them to the exemption list, the permissive tax exemption list. So now they're assessed with owing $34,000 in taxes. They did not anticipate that, as we did not anticipate that. So now council is faced with a decision to grant them the funds to help pay their taxes.
You know, like other facilities that are similar to this, they've always been assessed, so we knew about that, so they're in the permissive tax exemption.
That is correct.
So this has just been added, but we didn't know about it till now, and because of
Correct. Because of the timing of when we renewed their agreement and when we sent it to BC Assessment, we were not aware that they were going to be assessed for taxes, as they were not previously assessed for taxes. So now they're assessed. We have this $34,000 assessment, and council's faced with the decision to grant them help, financial help to pay for the taxes.
Okay. Thank you. Melissa, did you want to add to that?
And just so council is aware, it's on our workflow now to review all leases to ensure, because there theoretically could be others that aren't on our permissive tax that the same thing could happen to. So with permissive tax deadline approaching, we need to review all our leases to ensure that if we need to tell them to apply for permissive tax, we're doing that so that they can meet the deadline. It could mean an increase in our permissive tax applications and the total amount approved as well.
Thank you, Melissa. All right, Councillor Earl, were you going to put a recommendation?
Sure.
I'd like to
I'll
just
put a
get it on the
recommendation
floor and then we
forward.
can get some discussion.
Pardon me, just give me one moment. Okay, I will move the recommendation that report number 25-115 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding 2025 property taxes, Dawson Creek Exhibition Association be received. Further, that council authorize a one-time grant in the amount of $34,051.88 to the Dawson Creek Exhibition Association to cover the 2025 property taxes for the exhibition grounds.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Second, Councillor McDonald. Go ahead, Councillor Earl.
Well, this sounds like a very confused and frustrating bureaucratic mess. I appreciate staff trying to address it, and now we know. I guess just from a financial standpoint, so that $34,000 we'd be granting would then be paid to us. And because it's not tax permissive this year, in previous years, when it would have been tax exempt, we would have been picking up the tab for the school and hospital portion of the exemption anyway, correct? That would have been coming out of a different revenue stream, but we still pay that when we permit a tax exemption, correct?
Through your worship, that's correct, that the current practice for permissive tax that council approved is that we do cover the school tax portion as well. And so that's why you'll hear the common language when we're talking about permissive taxes. This is a cost burden we are putting on all residents. For your information, the amount is broken down to be just under $26,000 of that bill for the Exhibition Association is the municipal portion. But there is $8,145 that is owed related to other agencies. So that full amount, we won't be paying ourselves. $25,907 of it would be coming is the municipal portion.
Okay. So the net impact is just the difference between the 34 and the 25. Plus your time, which isn't free, and your aggravation, which is considerable by the sounds of things. Thank you.
Yeah, there was a lot of effort they put into this last week, so. Councillor Parslow?
Well, if I heard correctly, I've just had a revelatory experience. So, church is a bad one to choose. Society XYZ has permissive tax exemption from the city, so they don't pay taxes. But did you say that we cover their school taxes?
Yes, that's correct. All other taxes we cover.
We
permissive tax
pay
exemption.
them. We pay them. Right? Now, I'll tell you why that's revelatory. If you look at the Fort St. John's system of permissive tax exemption, which I totally admire, they have a cap and they have a committee that decides who gets exemption, but it is the people who get exempted are still required to pay the school tax. But in Dawson Creek, if we exempt you municipal taxes, we'll say, oh, well, we'll take care of your school taxes as well. I didn't know that. That makes me even more peeved off about our permissive tax exemption scheme.
We'll be seeing that in the next few months, so we can have that discussion then. All right, any other discussion relating to this? No, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. 10, bylaws. 10.1, we have report number 25-096 from the Development Service Manager regarding OCP Amendment 25-01, bylaw number 4608, 2025, and zoning amendment 25-02, bylaw number 4607, 2025, for consideration of first and second reading. Councillor McDonald?
Well, thank you, Worship. I'd like to move the report number 25-096 from the Development Service Manager regarding official community plan amendment 25-01, bylaw number 4608, 2025, and zoning amendment 25-02, bylaw number 4607, 2025 be received. Further, that OCP Amendment 25-01, bylaw number 4608, 2025, and zoning amendment 25-02, bylaw number 4607, 2025, be given first and second reading.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Apollonio. Any discussion? I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Next, 10.2, report number 25-110 from the Development Service Manager regarding zoning amendment 25-03, bylaw number 4610, 2025, for consideration of first and second reading. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to move that report number 25-110 from the Development Services Manager regarding zoning amendment 25-03, bylaw number 4610, 2025 be received. Further, that zoning amendment 25-03, bylaw number 4610, 2025 be given first and second reading.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Apollonio. Any discussion? No? All right, I'll call this motion to vote.
Sorry.
Vote is closed. It's carried. Next order of business, 11, Mayor's Business, 11.1, Mayor's Updates. So I'll just try and briefly go through these. Yeah, this, I don't know when this was, but a little bit ago, we had a tour of Shell Canada gave us a tour. So Councillor McDonald, Councillor Sudnick, I believe, and the three of us, and Kevin attended. So they took the day, just kind of toured us around their facilities and their water reclamation system, and it was very educational. Yeah, it was just amazing to see what they've done and how innovative they are. You've seen that with other tours we've had, but I haven't had one like this before. Especially their water system is it was definitely pretty advanced and a pretty great system. So I just wanted to thank them for their time, and yeah, it was a great tour. Dawson Co-op grand reopening. This was a little bit ago. They had just a grand reopening. So I just wanted to give a shout out to the Dawson Co-op. They are, yeah, just real leaders in our community. They go above and beyond what they're here for. They definitely put community first in every aspect that they do. They are leaders in our community, and yeah, I respect them for being in our community, their leadership style, their members, what they do, but I'm just grateful to have that relationship with them, and just want to congratulate them on their reopening of their food store. It's a beautiful facility and a beautiful investment into our community. Devereux Elementary, I got to go hang out with the grade 2 and 3 class a little bit ago, and it was just phenomenal. Any time I get that exposure to the youth, it definitely reiterates why I love doing what I do today. And yeah, it was just phenomenal to see. They asked a lot of questions. It's so funny because you'd think like grade 2s and 3s, like you would think some of the questions would be all over, but I mean, I think they could sit at this table. Like their questions are, yeah, they're real, and yeah, it's amazing. And then I played on their playground for a bit, and they took me for a tour outside, and they have, believe it's one of the first accessible playgrounds, and it's phenomenal. And they had me on there, and they were spinning me. I was like, okay, I'm not a little kid. I don't think I'm gonna be able to walk anymore. But no, it was fun, and it was just amazing. Just a great school, like they all are, but in a great group of kids. I really enjoyed my time there. I had a meeting a little while ago at lunch with LMV Energy Services, so Ryan and Cole. Just kind of a update on what they're doing, and a thank you for their commitment to our community and what they do for our community. And it was just it was a good catch up. They had a lot of questions around what we're doing, so it just I like when I get those opportunities to just talk about all the things that we've been working on and answer any questions. So. Next, we had the city team had the all-staff barbecue. So, it was amazing. I think anytime you can recognize your team. So I think the biggest win out of it is you get to, it's a true thank you to the city team for what they do each and every day. And it was great to see. I don't know what the turnout was. I was pulled out of my former job, retirement, and put on the barbecue. And I don't know if that was natural or it was just my instinct to want to take control of it. But I got to cook the whole time, and I enjoyed it. It was great. It was great to see the team and the city leadership team there as well, and plus council helping out. So it was a great event. And thank you. I had an airport roundtable a little bit ago. There's not much of an update from that. Kevin did send an email out to council on that. It was just more there was a couple, 3 airport, users, just some dialogue on, areas where they think we can improve, areas where we're doing good at. FCM, I have a report attached. So I was in Ottawa a little bit ago for the FCM conference. So all the details are in the report, but I really enjoyed it. It was just good. It was very educational. I got to learn a little bit about the Canadian history. I mean, being in Ottawa, Councillor Parslow pointed out to me before that there was some, good museums and history sites to see. So I went and did that. I took his advice and went and did it. And it really was like eye-opening for me to see the true Canadian history. I've lived here my whole life, and you don't learn some of this stuff. So it was pretty neat to see just how it progressed, from a long time ago. But then also, I just wanted to give a shout out to MP Zimmer. He took some time and gave myself and a few other directors and councillors from the region a tour of the Parliament Hill, and it was pretty inspirational to see all that too, and to get into their chambers where you sit, where decisions for our country have been made for the last 100 and some years to be there. One of the more significant things is they have like a Remembrance Day room where they, from, all the wars and stuff that Canada has been through, where they have a remembrance room where they remember those individuals. So it was pretty inspirational. You get to see that every day when you're in Parliament Hill and realize why you're doing what you do, right? And those that made the ultimate sacrifice for what we have today, and for our freedom. So, it was overall just a great experience. So I'm thankful and grateful that I got the opportunity to attend it. So Uber, I've had a few phone calls with Uber. So they have launched BC-wide platform. This was within the last month. So I know that they're looking at some drivers in this region, but it's announced BC-wide. So the platform's there. It will gradually grow within communities. So to touch on that, the healthcare traveling roadshow, I was away for this, but I wanted to just touch base a little bit and just give a little bit of a thank you. So we hosted them at the pickleball courts and then for a dinner. So it's just a traveling roadshow. There's students that are in the medical field, healthcare field that are coming up. So I wanted to, Everett and Tristan with the Pickleball Association went out of their way to attend the pickleball courts and walk these students through. So I just, I wanted to thank them. I mean, they went out of their way. This wasn't like compensated. We asked them, we reached out to them. They were more than excited to showcase our community and in the pickleball courts, but also they're both, professionals and have moved to this community, so just great. And to me, those are the moments that just make you proud to be a leader in this community when you see other community members offering to put their time, donate their time to help. Prob from the city Parks and Rec division was there as well, and she's been at a lot of different events that we've done, but just an outstanding team member and so passionate about the city and what she does. It's just an honor for her. And then Kathy, who never gets enough credit for what she does. I'm so grateful that to have her and what she does, but I wanted to thank her. And then also Councillor McDonald, and Councillor Earl, did you? Okay, and to Councillor McDonald just for chaperoning and hosting and leading them around. So thank you for taking the time. Next, Mountain Christian School. I had a grade 1 class visit there a little while ago. It was about career day. So they questions around 2 of my careers. One is the mayor and one is my business role. So it was to go hang out with them for a while and answer a bunch of questions. Another amazing experience. Interact Jail and Bail fundraiser. This was hosted, the Interact Rotary Club was here and presented to us. I won't touch too much on this. I just want to thank that Rotary Interact Club for the youth and for what they do. It's, there must have been, I would say about 12 members there, but they're out there donating their time and they have lists of all the things that they've given and done and for no compensation. They're just doing it to give back, to make our community a better place. And this is our youth. Our grade, 10, 11, and 12s, just phenomenal to see. I'm not sure exactly who everybody was here. I know Councillor McDonald and Councillor Abalone also got locked up. I was locked up in the morning, was there for an hour before I headed out of town. But yeah, it was just amazing to be part of. I think the last I heard from Mr. Fedema, they raised around $15,000. So significantly more than what they were anticipating. I think their goal was 6,000. So does not surprise me in this community, but and then I had a couple other things to add quickly that I'll go through just before we deal with the other business. So this stuff will be on my next updates, but I just figured I wanted to address it as well. But I wanted to send a congratulations to the graduation class of 2025. The local South Piece just had their grad this weekend. I got to partake a little bit on Saturday. It was amazing to see all the grads, and just wanted to congratulate them. Mountain Christian School has theirs coming up next weekend, which I'm attending, so I just wanted to congratulate them as well. And also any homeschooling students too that are graduating. I know there's a very significant homeschooling group in our community, so congratulate them as well, and anybody else that I missed. Also, I wanted to touch base just a little bit on ministers. So a couple things. We did have actually a meeting on Friday morning with Minister Osborne, with Ministry of Health, and the doctors. So she was supposed to be up here. There was some medical reasons with Northern Health why she couldn't attend. So we asked if we could still have a call. So we did with the doctors on Friday morning. So that was good. And as well, just with some of the stuff that's been going on around the community with the RCMP and the criminal stuff, we've just put a request out to the Attorney General for myself to have a meeting with her as well, with Nikki Sharma in the next bit. So we've put that request out on Friday as well. So I'll keep you posted on that. And then I did touch earlier just on the pump track and pickleball courts. I wanted to, yesterday was the first time I had a chance to go to the pump track, but what an amazing facility. I just wanted to give a shout out and a thank you to Milesdale Park Society for that facility. It's definitely an asset, and to see all the families that were down there and youth and kids, and I was just in awe doing that, and seeing that. And then last, I did thank council and, Councillor Earl, I know you're the acting mayor while I was away, and for FCM and for some personal stuff as well. So I just wanted to thank you, but I also want to thank all of council. And I look at just the last 3 weeks on how much this council has contributed in our community with all the events. Like, I truly am grateful for it. I have a hard time when I leave because I feel like I need to be here and I want to do things and contribute, but I don't feel that with this council. I am grateful for each and every one of you for what you do and contribute to our community, and definitely make my life a lot easier. And I just feel like us doing things as a team and moving forward, we just can accomplish way more stuff, and I believe it's showing. So just wanted to really thank you. Any questions on any of that? No? All right. We just have a few more things. I know we have student council here, but I wouldn't mind just getting through these next couple things before lunch. So next is 11.2, just a report from myself. So on FCM, I don't know if there's any questions. Councillor Parslow?
Would you like a motion to receive this report?
Well, there's no recommendation in here. Do we need one? We don't need one, I don't
No.
think, do we? No, it's just more for information.
Well, I just want to say a couple of things,
Yeah,
if I may.
go ahead.
Okay. Well, first of all, I appreciate you writing this report. And I'm also pleased that you listened to my advice, because I told you going to Ottawa, going to FCM will be possibly a life-changing experience. You'll understand the scope of Canada. You'll have come back with deeper appreciation for the country that we're privileged to live in.
Yes.
And I'm glad you had all those experiences. I'd like to, maybe the corporate officer will smack my wrist here, but you make reference that the next FCM is in Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
When that happened last, the council of the day directed staff to budget to enable every member of council to attend that FCM, because it was so close, and the understanding that people would carpool. I'm a strong belief that even if it's in Edmonton, I would like my colleagues to experience an FCM in this term of office.
Yeah.
And that was the philosophy, I forget how many years ago, it was quite a few years ago, it was in Edmonton. I had the privilege of going. All the council members went because we all carpooled, and it reduced the expense of it. It's an opportunity, and I would like, I don't want to put it on the agenda as a vote now, I'd just like to put it on for consideration at the next council meeting.
Okay.
And I think it would, have quite an impact on everyone.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah.
Thanks, Councillor
Thank you.
Parslow. I guess just in regards to that, can we just, in the fall when we review budgets, would that be the time when we would?
Sure.
Or what's the best process?
Well, through
for
your
that?
worship, if I'm hearing Councillor Parslow correctly, he perhaps will be bringing a council memo forward suggesting that we waive policy, increase attendance for FCM, and budget implications.
For 2025, or
Correct.
2026, yeah,
Correct.
to include into
Yeah.
that. Yeah, okay. Okay.
And you're going to remind me to do that, aren't you? No, she's great. Tab is
That's where
great.
this left.
She will.
All right, any other comments? Thank you, Councillor Parslow, and I agree. All right, next is 11.3. So we had the delegation request from Community Living, BC, or from David. Would somebody like to put something forward there? Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to move that we grant the request of a delegation from Community Living BC.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Second, Councillor Apollonio. And I guess, would we want direction in there that we would allow, I think, Ryan, you would probably need to work, the city team would need to work with them on the best scenario. Do you need that in the recommendation, or are we fine with the recommendation the way it is? Because we'll probably need something back from the city on what that looks like, but
Yeah,
is
I
that?
think we'll meet with them and look to find ways to, move something forward, whatever that might look like at whatever location, and all those minutia details,
Okay.
watering, insurance, all those sort of types of things.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, I think, thanks for putting that forward, Councillor McDonald. I am 100% in support of this. I think anytime, one of our strategic priorities is relationships and empowering community, and this is a community member organization coming forward wanting to do something to better our community. With, from what we can see initially, very little impact to us. And I'm just in favor of supporting and empowering this. I think it's a great thing. So, Councillor Parslow?
INS has raised gardens that, and the idea is that the supported persons would look after them. It's, I don't know what word to use. It's very problematic. Raised gardens need to be watered probably in the summer twice a day. And what is intended to be a beautification can become quickly an eyesore. And I just don't know are we expecting the grounds department of the city to maintain and water these things? I really ask that question because I just want you to know that we've tried many things in the past, and it's become, once there was a really quite a devoted group of people, tended to be senior citizens, who did all this sort of work, right? And then they got tired. So I don't know who, is it, my councillor friend, Councillor Apollonia, knows full well about the INS challenges. So I'm just saying it's one thing to build, to plant. It's the ongoing maintenance, watering, fertilizing. Who's going to do that? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Parslow. Any other discussion, Councillor Apolonio?
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, just adding up to Councillor Parslow. Yeah, I support the project like what presented with David a while ago. My question with Councillor Parslow, because if you are just only concentrating on just people with challenges, it would really be hard, because based from experience, it's really hard to get an individual with challenges and then water the plants like morning, in the afternoon, for example. Might as well, if you want to continue with the project, maybe just one first, maybe just one section. Try that, and then after that, if it's flourishing, and then we can add more, rather than, I think there's a 1 to 5 possibilities, but for me, just maybe one first, and then we can just go on from there.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Apolonio. My understanding is they only want to do one. They want to test it for 3 years. Those were just 5 areas where they're thinking that it maybe could go, but it's just one, and then, I guess to answer some of Councillor Parslow's things, I would expect that to come back to us once Ryan has done some work, is what that looks like. But we're talking one planter, and I have some plants in my backyard that grow with no love from me. So there's probably some out there that don't need to be watered 2 or 3 times a day. But I don't know. I'm not an expert in that. So, Councillor McDonald.
No, thank you, Your Worship. I was just going to say the same thing. It was right in the proposal there that they only want to do a 3-year test to begin with, right? A 3-year trial. And as far as watering and that goes, I think they want to build them and see who will take ownership of it, right? So that if somebody's willing to take ownership to plant, they'll water it themselves, right? Not necessarily enforcing maintenance on anybody else, right? And if they don't do it, it's an easy thing to take down or move on.
Yeah. Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Any other discussion? I'll call this motion to vote. Sorry, go ahead, Tab.
Through your worship, just for clarification on the motion, it's my understanding that council supports the initiative and is directing staff to meet with the group to discuss all of the details and bring those details back to council for future consideration. Is that correct?
That's what I understand, and that's what I kind of brought up to Ryan, and
Okay.
he said he understood that as that, so,
Perfect. Thank you.
yeah. Thank you, Tab. All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed, it's carried. Next order of business, 12, we don't have a CAO update today, I don't believe. 13, anything in the diary? No. 14, consent calendar. Did anybody want to lift anything from the consent calendar? No. Could I get a motion to accept the consent calendar? Councillor Sudnick, second Councillor Kemp. I'll call that to vote. Vote is closed. Carried. Sorry, there was no updates from CAO. No. I kind of went through that, but. Next, 15 media questions, no media. 16, and for lunch, but we're also going to recess to close meetings. So 16.1, resolution to move into meeting of council closed to the public. Agenda items 2.1, section 91J, information that is prohibited or information that if it were presented in a document would be prohibited from disclosure under section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, and section 91K, negotiations and related discussions respecting the proposed provision of a municipal service that are at their preliminary stages, and that in the view of the council could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality if they were held in public. Agenda item 5.1, section 91G, litigation or potential litigation affecting the municipality, in section 92B, the consideration of information received and held in confidence relating to negotiations between the municipality and provincial government. Councillor McDonald, second Councillor Kemp. Call that to vote. Vote is closed and it's carried. I guess just one thing before we leave. So we have student council here till 1 o'clock for lunch with us.